One might say, okay, adharma is bad for eating, sleeping, mating, defending in the long run. And even from the perspective of multiple lifetimes, it is bad because it creates impiety. It leads to not just practical, it practically leads to unlimited or even practically endless suffering for us over the lifetimes. So adharma is bad for material life. I accept that. And I accept that Varnashrama Dharma is good for material life because it creates uh, piety, and even presently, right now, it creates an atmosphere which does not, greatly disturb and enhance the miseries of material existence. It minimizes the miseries of material life. But how can you say Bhagavata Dharma is good for material life? It is good for spiritual life. We know that because it causes spiritual progress. Uh, but how can it be good for material life? How can you say that? How can it help in Dharma, Artha, Kama? Uh, but the scriptures do state this. The scriptures do state this. For instance, here in the 11th canto, text 29, chapter 29, text 5, here Uddhava is speaking. Tam tva akhilatmadayiteshwarmashritanam sarvarthadam swakrita vid visrjeta kono ko va bhajet kim api vismrita yena bhutyai kim va bhavenna tava pada rajo jushamna. Who then could dare reject you, the very soul, the most dear object of worship and the supreme Lord of all? You who give all possible perfections to the devotees who take shelter of you. Who could be so ungrateful, knowing the benefits you bestow? Who would reject you and accept something for the sake of material enjoyment, which simply leads to forgetfulness of you? And what lack is there for us who are engaged in the service of the dust of your lotus feet? This last sentence is most important in this context of our discussion. What lack is there for us who are engaged in the service of the dust of your lotus feet? Now, notice that in the purport, the commentators have quoted from the Narayaniya section of the Moksha Dharma portion of the Mahabharata, which makes a very important observation. Ya vai sadhana sampatti purushartha chatushtaya taya vina tadapnoti naro narayana ashraya. Whatever among the four goals of human life can be achieved by various spiritual practices is automatically achieved without such endeavors by the person who has taken shelter of Lord Narayana, the refuge of all persons. Now, this is a very, very important point. There are four goals of human life. We learned this from the Mahabharata and from other scriptures. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. It's a traditional way of listing them out. The lowest is Kama. Kama is just sense enjoyment, the combination of sound, touch, form, taste, smell with our senses uh, in a manner that is agreeable to us is called sense enjoyment. Artha refers to procuring resources for Kama. Dharma in this context refers to what we commonly call Sukriti, pious credits. Just as we accumulate Artha uh, in order to have Kama in the future, similar by those who know this, small infants don't know that Artha can lead to Kama. um, they may they may take a small baby food more seriously than currency cash with which you can get a lot of baby food. They don't understand it because they're infants, they're ignorant. Similarly, people who are not uh, by the blessings of the supreme lord brought up in civilization which teaches vedic dharma, they do not know that from pious credits you get artha and kama in the future. uh, in fact, uh, one of Prabhupada explained that from Sukriti you can get uh, there are various symptoms of future enjoyment that come out of previous pious credits. For instance, Janma, uh, Aishwarya, Shruta, and Shri. These are all various symptoms. Janma means good birth. This comes because of previous pious activity. One is born in a non-dysfunctional family, in a happy, intact, religious, ethical family. That is because of previous sukriti. He has accumulated previous piety. Aishwarya, one gets various opulences because of previous piety. Shruta, one gets good education and training in order to have sufficient livelihood in the future. That also is that facility comes only because of previous uh, sukriti or dharma, pious credits. And Shri, which refers to beauty. One's beauty is also because of previous piety. So, for those who accept Vedic authority and who surrender to Lord Vishnu, they by engaging in Varnashrama Dharma, they experience Artha and Kama. And the highest Purushartha or highest human need is Moksha. Moksha means freedom from the cycle of material entanglement, because one simply wants to become free from the invariable material miseries that are inseparable from Dharma, Artha, Kama. So these are called four Purusharthas, for human needs throughout Vedic scriptures. The vast majority of population is simply absorbed in Artha and Kama, and most of the Vedas are trying to elevate people uh, to this. Of course, it's understood that they may be interested in all three, but that's all right uh, at that neophyte level of understanding. But then one who doesn't seek liberation uh, um, and who doesn't want to minimize dharma or the kama in a manner that is favorable for liberation is considered really stupid. So, in Vedic civilization, people are aiming for at least dharma artha kama or moksha dharma artha kama. If they're really intelligent, they simply want moksha, they don't want dharma artha kama. But at any rate, uh, the idea is that um, there are various activities of sadhanas which lead to that. Like, for instance, uh, in order to attain kama, you need to do different things by which you can get sense enjoyment. There are certain endeavors you must execute in order to get it. In order to get resources for future sense enjoyment, you need to engage in various activities. You need to endeavor for those activities by which you become rich. Similarly, in order to get pious credits, by which you get all of these, uh, you need to actually engage in various endeavors. You need to do different things. You need to carry out your ashrama dharma, varna dharma. You need to do different things. You need to do a lot of public material welfare, and so many things one needs to do in order to accumulate pious credits. Similarly, if one wants to get liberated from material existence, there are several sadhanas, several means, several endeavors that one need to actually engage in. Um, However, uh, the Narayaniya portion of Mahabharata says that Taya Vina, without engaging in any of those endeavors, one can attain all of these four simply by rendering devotional service, exclusive devotional service to Lord Narayana. If one exclusively serves Krishna, if one exclusively engages in Bhagavata Dharma, th then without endeavoring for Kama, Artha, Dharma, and Moksha, one can attain all four. Uh, that is what is meant by this statement. That that is what is meant by this statement. It is good for material life and spiritual life. So now, does this mean that uh, we should just abandon Varnashrama Dharma? Um, is carrying out our ashrama dharma or our varna dharma bad because it does not require, we don't require it for spiritual progress? Can we just abandon it? One has to very, very carefully think about this in consultation with one's own authentic spiritual master. One should think about it. Our goal is to come to this point of engaging exclusively in Bhagavata Dharma without Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, and Adharma. This column 1 signifies that. If we cannot do it, then we can engage in the activities signified in column 2 here. That let us engage in Bhagavata Dharma. Let us also engage in our Varna Dharma and Ashrama Dharma, but let us avoid Adharma. And we will increase our Bhagavata Dharma. We will increase the time that we give for chanting Hare Krishna, for hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, for serving the deity form of the Lord, for serving the holy dham of the Lord by visiting the dham. And we will avoid adharma. Adharma is of two types. Adharma refers to papa, sinful activities, and aparadha, offenses. So we will avoid these two and we'll try to increase this. So eventually we can come to this combination of activities. This is pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. But combination combinations suggested in columns 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is useless. This is useless. See, I may be engaged in spiritual dharma, I may be engaged in varna dharma, ashrama dharma, and I'm also engaged in adharma. What is this? What is this? This is not even required. This is not required. I could avoid it. I could simply avoid it. There is no need for me to engage in activities under this combination. Similarly, here is another combination. This is somewhat hypocritical that I will say that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma is superficial, but I will engage in adharma and I'll say, oh, it's Kali Yuga, what to do? Instead of that, we could struggle to be here. This is not bad. What is bad about this? It is second class, but it is not it is not something that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very particular that his followers do not touch adharma. Look at this. One rejects Bhagavata Dharma, follows Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, but rejects adharma. Or here is another combination. One gives up Bhagavata Dharma but follows Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, and Adharma. Or this is just a modern person, doesn't accept any of this. So, anyway, we can accept this as a means to attain this, and from this, one will attain Krishna Prema. So, this is something which is reasonable and doable. And Thakur Bhaktivinoda, he was very much alarmed when Vaishnavas did not understand this point, and they simply thought about uh, how to simply give up varnashrama dharma. One should think very, very carefully whether one is qualified to completely give up varnashrama dharma. Ramananda Ray's actual statement was a quotation from Vishnu Purana. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in an essay called Sadhu Vritti, which is presented in a book called Sri Bhakti Aloka, very vividly discusses what actually means, what is actually to be understood from Lord Chaitanya's so-called rejection of Varnashrama Dharma. What exactly should we understand? What does it mean and what does it not mean? Here is an English translation of Bhakti Aloka. The translation is fine, and we are lucky that it is in the folio also. Srila Ramananda Rai said that the process for achieving the supreme goal of life is given in the Vishnu Purana 389 as follows. Varnashma achara vata purushena parah puman Vishnu aradhyate pantha nanyatattosha karanam. One can worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu by proper discharge of the principles of Varna and Ashrama. There is no alternative to pacifying the Lord by execution of the principles of the Varnashrama system. So the idea is, if you want to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead Lord Vishnu, then you need to engage in the activities of the Varna and Ashrama system. One has to do it. All Purushas need to engage in such activities. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, rejected this process as external and requested him to give a higher conclusion. The purport of Sri Chaitanya's statement is this: O Ramananda, Varnashrama Dharma is meant to regulate the gross and subtle bodies. If someone is satisfied only in that, without engaging in devotional service of Krishna, then what is his gain? Therefore, although the process of Varnashrama is the only means of purification for a conditioned soul, still it is external. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 128, Dharma swanushtitah pumsam vishwaksena kathasu yah notpadayed yade ratim shrama eva hi kevalam. The occupational duties a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead.